everyone, this video is for the sake of people who are maybe interested in RPM, and basically we're trying to answer the question, what is it?
What is RPM?
What is it?
Quick introduction. I'm Sue Finesse and I moderate the Unlocking Voices group. My son is Chris, he's aged 18 now. He's still severely autistic, he's non-verbal. We first met Soma back in 2011, I think it was. Chris has still got a long way to go. We're still working on all his skills. He still loves things like Teletubbies. He loves nursery rhymes, but he can point on a letterboard. He can express his thoughts. He's written poems. He is, achieved some fabulous things, and you can have a look at separate videos on Chris if you want to.
I'm Alex. So I started working with Sue's son. I don't know how many years ago now, but I'm now kind of a qualified RPM teacher working in the UK. So hello.
Okay, so what is RPM? It stands for R for rapid, P for prompting, M for method, the rapid prompting method. And basically, this name came about because I think it was a filmmaker was following Soma around, and noticed that when she was working with people, she
was pacey.
Yeah, she went things through quickly, was giving lots of prompts, and decided to call it the rapid prompting method, and that's where it came from.
So you don't have to think that one too much. No. RPM is a teaching method, and it was kind of, I guess, made for Soma's son who was autistic, but it also can help people with other kind of conditions and disabilities too. Yeah.
The main thing is it works. This method works, and it works at a different pace for different students. It recognises that everyone is an individual with their own challenges. So, it's not a miracle fix, it's not an overnight sensation. For some people it is a very fast progress, and for others it's long, slow and steady. Yeah. But, believe us, it works. Yeah. Right. So why does it work? I think one of the underlying principles is that it recognises that the brains of autistic individuals are wired differently from neurotypicals, and takes account of that in the way that the teaching is done.
Yeah, now one of the things that kind of changed everything for me and Sue when we were learning was that we found out that the speech and the language in the brain were kind of not together but actually separated, so somebody could still be thinking, comprehending things, having thoughts in sentences, but actually not able to get that through to the speech all the time. And that was massive, wasn't it? We were like, oh!
Because, with my son, I always felt that there was something there. And you'd see glimpses of it, you'd see glimpses of intelligence and you'd see glimpses of him understanding, but then, you have this idea that because he can't talk, he mustn't be able to understand.
Yeah, and then everyone says, speaking a few words, so then that kind of gives you the message then that the understanding must be similar to the level of speech. Yeah. We also know now that somebody's motor skill isn't indicative of their intellect either. So, for example, lots of kids are asked to do things like pass me 3 objects or pass me a pencil. But a lot of the time, though, the brains are wired in such a different way that actually they can't. Maybe they might be understanding, or there's 3 things, or there's the pen, or there's the bottle. But for whatever reason, their language isn't able to kind of send that message through all of the different motor skill parts. For the person to do it.
This happens with Chris all the time. Even now I can, and I've worked on it, but I can say to him, oh, pass me the book that's there, and he kind of looks almost sometimes even paralysed, as if he doesn't know what I'm asking him to do. Yet, if I was to ask him on a letterboard, can you describe the book? Can you tell me what I wanted you to do? He'd be able to do that. So he's got this, difficulties with the wires connecting through to the right part.
Bit of a mind-body disconnect. So key point there, brains wired differently.
Yeah.
Speech, language, separate.
Yeah, and failure to do things in a neurotypical way does not mean failure to understand. Does not mean that the cognitive skills are lacking.
A quick example for that, I remember going to a dance club once, and the woman did all of these moves, and then like 90% of the class were like, oh yeah, and they just copied it. Now I understood what she wanted me to do, right? She wanted me to copy these moves, but physically though, I was not capable.
Yeah.
And in the same way, you know, the same thing's happening when somebody's saying, pass me a pen or give me 3.
Yeah.
The understanding can be there, but just the physical
being able to coordinate it. Yeah. A quick example relating to Chris. I spent years and years trying to do basic maths with him.
I remember.
And numbers, and then matching numbers to the number of objects, and then saying, you know, give me 3 out of this group of 5. Chris just could not do it, and we worked and worked and worked on it, hand over hand, same thing, again and again and again. We never got it. When I started doing RPM and doing some maths with him, we actually realised that he could do quite advanced maths calculations really quite easily. So he had the cognition there, he could do the calculations, but he hadn't got the motor skills to be able to show us that he understood. So, you know, just another simple example where, you know, the cognition's there, but the ability to show it might not be.
It's not.
So let's just go a bit more into this then about, you know, how do we start teaching in RPM?
Yeah, well, because we recognise the brain is wired differently, from the beginning we presume intelligence, and that's not saying that we believe people have this kind of like knowledge within them of everything.
No.
We kind of teach them what they should know at that age, so that means providing stimulating information. So with a 5-year-old, obviously, you know, doing a story or looking at objects together, feeling textures, looking at different materials, that would be appropriate. For a 20-year-old, I'm going to present something completely different. And that's not to say I do molecular biology, because they probably
might not have been exposed to it, no.
But it's about talking to them in an age-appropriate way where they're going to feel kind of respected.
Yes. Just in the way that Alex and I are talking now, you know, we don't have to slow down the language, we don't have to hold up pictures to show what we're talking about. We're presenting stimulating information, and we're also maybe just causing them to think a little bit by, you know, the information that we're presenting.
Yeah.
So, and this is stuff that, you know, develops anyone's brain.
Yeah, and it might be that the first few times you do it, like the person actually might struggle to listen to you talk in that way because it's so different. But unless you give somebody that opportunity, and unless you kind of get exposed to information, and the language would struggle to develop in any type of person.
Okay, so the skills that we work on then, we work on initially teaching the skill of purposeful pointing. Purposeful pointing to maybe written choices of information, purposeful pointing to spell out words and answers on stencils or letterboards. So, you know, we're just working on that student being able to take their finger or pencil, you know, to where they want it to go. That takes lots and lots and lots of practice for many children. So we're not just holding up boards and expecting them to be able to do stuff. We're working on that skill. And at the same time, we're developing their thinking and reasoning skills.
Yeah, because if we just said point to this, point to that, it'd be very boring then. But we're kind of learning the skills and using kind of the education and the lessons as almost like the vehicle, so that they're not going to be bored throughout the process. Yeah, so
the RPM is definitely not repetitive, you know, touch A, touch B, touch C, you know, spell dog, spell cat, you know, it's presenting an educational piece of information and then using that as the opportunity to practice the pointing skills. And as well as this, the pointing on letterboards and stuff, RPM is also working just in a general way on purposeful movement skills. So not just pointing on a letterboard, but maybe being able to point to body parts.
Yeah, maybe if you're doing a science lesson, being able to draw like a picture of the world, or point on a map to a country.
Yeah.
So we kind of work on generalising the skills as well into, life.
Yeah, so, independent living skills, being able to mix things, and reading skills, hobbies, crafts, it can work on all of those skills. Okay, big question is RPM only for, severely autistic non-verbal kids?
No, I think it has a bit of a reputation for that, because initially, because Soma's son was non-verbal, although he's pretty verbal now because Soma's been working on that. So many parents with non-verbal kind of children went to Soma. But now, though, the more kind of practice Soma's had and we're seeing that verbal people do really, really well with this too. And again, it's that same principle of the brains are wired differently, so perhaps some speech is able to kind of happen. It might be stim speech, it might be functional speech, it might be social speech, but sometimes that kind of more expressive opinion is still unable to kind of really get through.
Yeah, and Soma's written a whole book just about how to adapt RPM for verbal students. So
that would be a great read, because you'll be able to identify what type of speech your child has then.
Yeah. So
I think that kind of sums it up. So we hope that's been helpful.
Yeah. Unscripted, but
we've just tried to put it into kind of a context.
Yeah.
Like more relatable, because I think sometimes when you talk all about the terminology, it can be a bit confusing.
Yeah.
But maybe it's helped. Hope it has.
Okay.
See ya.